All right, are we live? I think we're live already, guys. So, hey, what's up? You already know
There
what's
it
up.
is.
It's your boy J Rocks right here. Today I have a guest. I will probably be doing this. If everything goes according to plan, we're gonna make this a weekly thing, maybe every Friday, like today at around the same time. This is my guest. You wanna introduce yourself?
My name is Multi Enthusiast on YouTube.
Okay, Monte.
And
Today we're gonna be reviewing Silver Surfer, the first six issues. Now this is the 2014 run of Silver Surfer with Dan Slott and Mike Allred on art. It's a completely different take. I'm not too familiar with the character, but I did get the feeling it's a lot different and it's outside of continuity. At least it felt like it was, like it's its own thing. This was written in 2014. And before we get to that, we'll talk a little bit about digital comics and physical comics and trades and so forth. We'll talk a little bit about that. Then we'll get to the review. Because it seems like maybe digital is the future. What do you think about that?
yeah, I just wanted to talk about the differences and have comparisons, with digital versus physical, and just see, because the thing that made me want to talk about digital was the fact that I feel like it's convenient, but at the same time, we spend so much time looking at our screens, anyways, on our phones, and I just feel like it's going to be the future, so it's necessary to talk about it.
Yeah, I
Same
agree.
for you.
I'm not because there you have your readers. They're gonna be reading digital, but you also have your collectors, and there's always gonna be a market for physical books, like because you're always gonna have collectors that part a big part of the hobby is you like when a book goes up, when it goes down, and you like playing like we like to make pretend it's Wall Street. Like, oh, my stocks just went up, my stocks just went down. So that whole part of it would go away if physical books went away. So I don't really think they're going anywhere, but I do think we're gonna get like the newer generation and stuff like that are gonna migrate more towards digital. They like playing with tablets and their computers and so forth.
I mean, another thing I noticed too, I did some digital reading recently, and I honestly get through books a lot quicker reading digitally. And there is good things about it, like you can zoom in on the panels and stuff, zoom out, so you get a really close in look, like on the art. But at the same time, for me, I have to have something physically in my hand, and I just have to have that. It's like that nostalgia for me of being able to read a physical book and seeing the pictures themselves up close.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's interesting you brought up art because I like reading mine. I read them on my Xbox. So the Xbox, I have it hooked up to my TV, so I could read from far away. And like you said, you do the guided view, so you watch panel for panel. So the art looks real big and the colors pop. It's bright. And some artists I don't
What is it
necessarily
like?
like on paper, but on the digital screen with the lights and all that, I enjoy their art. I'm like, wow, this looks good. And then on paper, I don't like them. And then there's some artists I just like on both. So like I
So
feel
what
like the screen makes a
do the
difference.
do the panels switch like a slideshow on the TV screen?
Yeah, yeah, that's the guided view. You have
I've never
guided, and
even
you have the
seen.
full page view.
I've heard of that. But I haven't even used it yet.
Yeah,
I
I
just
use
read from
guided
like.
view because it just shows one panel. Then you click the sideways to go to the next panel. What's good about that is because for me, when the panels are bigger, I do like the art looking bigger, but it's more for the font could be bigger so I could read it. Because when it's full page, I can't read it as good. Then I have to be zooming in and out. That way I could read the whole thing. The letters are nice and big.
One thing I did want to bring up about digital issues though is that you can jump into a series, like start from a single issue, and you pay like some of them. If you have Comixology Unlimited, you get them for free, so you can just read the first issue for free and see if you get sucked in and drawn into the story right away from one issue. So that's usually what I do. I'll use like digital comics just for like one issue to see if I like it, and then if I like it, I'll buy the trade or I'll wait for a hardcover or something. But I don't fully commit to digital issues only.
Yeah, that's a good way to test the waters before you start spending money or taking up space on your house with something you might not like. It's a good way to check out how you said the first few issues, see. See if it's something you want to drop some books on, and see if it's something you want taking up shelf book space. Another thing I noticed about the art, this is a con. It's not a positive for digital. It's a plus for physical. When you're reading a physical book, you're going through the panels, and then you change the page. You're going through more panels, and it builds up to a big moment. Then next thing you know, you flip a page, and you got a big two-page spread. So you're like, wow, it's a big moment. You see the picture just got bigger, or it's a big
Yeah,
splash page, and you know it was
I
like a
totally get
big,
what you mean with that. Because
yeah.
with digital, you don't get those full spread panels like that on 2 pages.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. When digital, every panel's the same size, so you don't get that oh moment, like that oh shit moment. And I think that's something working against the digital, and you can only get that feeling through a physical copy of a book.
Yeah, I think what people worry about a lot though is the accumulation of books over time, and space is always an issue, storage is always an issue. But if you're in groups where you can sell your old books that you don't want to read ever again, then you could just add new books after you sold those old books. So
Yeah, definitely. That's another thing that when you go digital, you bought it, you own it, that's it. When you buy on physical, you can always get at least some money back. You could resell it once you don't want it. Could get some money
yeah,
back. And a lot of the time they go up in price. So you not only get your money back, sometimes you even get extra. So it's like you read it for free, kept it for a while for free, and then got your money, your refund. You know what I mean?
yeah, because right, I was reading the first issue of Saga on Comixology, and it said borrow, so I borrowed it, so I didn't even pay. So I mean that's cool though,
Yeah, another
but
thing I gotta say is if you guys have a library card, check out the Hoopla app. You find your library card number, and you could just rent out books and movies digitally without having to go to your local library. You have them there. You could read them, and once the 3 weeks are up or whatever, the return date, it automatically you just can't read it anymore. It's been returned, so you don't have to worry about stopping by the library, returning it, and late fees and all that, or leaving the house. You just rent them digitally. I read a lot of books that way, and then if I like them enough, I buy the trades or the hardcovers.
yeah, some of the books contained in my hauls that we're going to be talking about when we talk about our hauls are because of reading the single issue on Comixology.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Like Hoopla is a great app. It's free too. Like I told you, all you need is a library card. Hoopla, every new trade of DC of Dark Horse that comes out, immediately the first day it comes out for sale, you get the digital copy online. So I read the first issues that way. If I like it, I buy the books. A lot of the time, I know you say, well, if you read it digitally, you won't buy the physical copy. They'll lose sales. Obviously, that doesn't happen with them because they keep doing it. And if anything, they get me to buy more of their books. I read them. I'm like, wow, I like this. Now I want the whole thing. I don't even want to read issue 3 or issue 4. I want to buy it physically and read it that way. Because also I can't read for a long period of time on the screen because it starts hurting my eyes with the bright lights and stuff. I'm focusing like
mine
on the
too.
letters.
Mine too, dude. That's why I'm like, man, like physical copies is the best thing because honestly, like it's we use electronics for so many things, and I think that reading physically, like physical copies, is an escape from that technology for a while.
Yeah, I
And
agree. When you're out at the park or like me, I do a lot of my reading when I go to laundromat. When I go to laundromat to wash, I do a lot of my reading now while my clothes is washing. You're just sitting there staring at the news or whatever because they have TVs there. So I rather just
yeah,
sit outside and they have benches outside. I rather just sit there and read or inside and read while my clothes is drying or washing. So I'm there reading for a good hour. That's what I get
I do
most
it
of my reading
too.
done.
Every time I go anywhere, I take at least one book with me, and I read physical books. So, I mean, I recommend just using digital for like reference to what you're gonna actually buy, but don't totally not buy physical copies. We need physical copies for people like us that want to collect it.
Yeah, yep. What's your preferred format? You like buying singles, digital, trades, hardcovers? What's your thing?
Well, honestly, when I first got into collecting, it was single issues, and then I realized how I want to use the term bang for your buck. You know, you get your bang for your buck if you're buying trades or hardcovers. It just feels like it's more worth your money. But that's, of course, with a website like InStockTrades.com. I guess that's the only reason it feels that way. But
I agree with the
yeah,
discounts you get there. That's the reason it's such a great. It feels like such a bargain.
yeah,
Yeah, like this that we're reading today. I bought the omnibus. I got the whole hardcover.
yeah.
About 28 issues. I paid I think $35. So that's like a little over $1 an issue. That's like about $1.25, $1.50 an issue. I paid I think 35. I think it goes for 70, but at Inside Trades you get it half price, so I paid 35. At 70 it's a little steep, but it's really nice quality. They're sewn binding. You hardly get any gutter loss. The pages are better than what they are on the single issues. The print quality and like I said, it's a nice hardcover, nice physically looks appealing to the eye, looks sexy. It
It
makes you be
pops.
like, oh, let me check this out, and it just
The
looks
art
nice.
pops.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I definitely think you get your money's worth, but I do know $70, $100 for one of these books. It's a lot when you're starting. You don't want to just start with the biggest premium format. Like you want to start with your $3, $4 singles or your $5 trade paperbacks. As you start getting to know more about books and stuff, that's why I started with the singles. Then I went to trade paperbacks. Then as you start knowing more and more, then I started with the hardcovers. You ease your way there.
So you kind of went through the same process, then the same. You went down the same path. Started
Yeah,
with
yeah.
single issues.
You slowly go. Yeah, you slowly go up to the different format. Once I got to these omnibuses, the first one I ordered, I hesitated because I was like, man, it's kind of expensive. They're $125 books, the X-Men ones, because they're thicker. I was like, that's kind
Yeah,
of a lot. I was like, do I really want to drop that kind of money on this? Then I found out about in stock trade. Some fellow YouTuber told me about it. Shout out to what is it, Don the comic book junkie? He let me know about the in stock trades. He's like, check it. He goes, I noticed you've been buying trades now because he was following my channel. He goes, I noticed you've been buying trades. He goes, check out instocktrades.com. They sell them at like a 50% discount. So I went there. I go, and then the book, the omnibus I wanted from X-Men was $70. So all of a sudden, 70 didn't seem as bad as 125. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy it at 70. It's not bad. Let me see if I like it. Bought it. Oh, no, I bought the Deadpool one. I bought the Deadpool first. Bought it. I liked it. I go, yeah, these are so nice. The quality and everything. That's the first time I seen one of these big hardcovers. I liked it enough. So then my next order, I ordered like 7 X-Men omnibuses.
yeah.
And I just never
I
bought
don't blame
singles
you.
again. I just sold all my singles that week. I put them all up on eBay, sold them, and with that money, I bought like 7 omnibuses.
I still have them. I left them in my other house when I moved, but there's a big box full of single issues I still have, but I just don't care about them. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't. That sounds bad, but I don't love them as much as I love the collected editions, I guess.
Yeah, I have singles of like old series that don't exist anymore, so they don't have trade paperbacks that are other companies like Ultra Force, Image, Malibu Comics, stuff like that. They don't have trade paperbacks because those companies no longer exist. So I go and hunt those back issues. I still do buy back issues, and I plan on turning them into big hardcovers like this because you could get
I
them
got the
custom bound.
I got the Violator miniseries from my local comic shop in California before I moved. I got Spawn Violator miniseries. It's like 4 issues, I think.
Okay,
I
okay,
got that. I got that. I didn't even open them. They're like sealed still. They've never been opened. They're like brand new. I don't
all
know how
right.
rare those are.
Have you ever had any books? Have you ever made your own custom hardcover like this? Like where you choose the
No,
cover, you choose the issues you want to put in there and what order? Like, have you ever done anything like that?
no.
I have one book like that, and I like the way it came out. I'm gonna make more. So I've been buying a lot of those single issues of books that like Moon Knight or stuff like that that they don't have
They don't
omnibuses.
get collected probably.
Yeah, so I'm buying the singles, and I already have most of them. I'm just missing an issue here and there, so I could send them in. I did that with my Conan books. I sent all my Conan books in. I had them custom bound into big hardcovers, and then
Yeah.
these big library editions got announced. So I bought those, the Colossal Conan ones. I bought those, and I sold my custom bound hardcovers. But they
That's
were
the thing I
really
wanted
nice
to
as
bring up
well.
too about That's the thing I wanted to bring up too about physically collecting, like physical books, is the fact that we just feel like we have to have it sometimes because how quick they disappear. You
Yeah, some
know?
stuff. There's always that. Yeah, there's always that thread that you're always thinking like, man, that how they call it, the dreaded hesitation hesitation move. You don't want to be
Well,
that
yeah,
guy that
because
hesitated and missed out on a deal.
yeah, it happened to me with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Deluxe Edition Year One. It happened to me with that. Um, the X-Men Children of Adam Epic Collection, the first one,
Okay,
got out of
okay.
print.
That one was going for
Just
super cheap. It was going for like $8. Nobody was buying it, and once it sold out and went out of print, everybody wants it.
yeah, you go. It's crazy now, and it was like I looked up the release date of it, and it was like not even 2 years ago. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that Epic Collection was going for like 8, $10 on eBay all the time, all day, until when that's why that might be why it went out of print because everybody was selling them so cheap, all the stores, because they couldn't get rid of them. They were going at like 80% discount or like 70%.
but then I guess another good thing about collecting physical books is that time when you do find that whale of a book that you've been wanting. You know, you
Yup, or
do
when
get
you
your
have
hands
books
on
sitting
that
on
book.
the shelf and then they rise
Yeah,
in price, sometimes you start thinking, do I want to sell it and with that money buy another book coming out that I like? Because sometimes I do that.
yeah.
I have books, I buy them. Sometimes I get around to reading them. Sometimes I don't even get around to reading some, and they go up in price, and I'm like, and I start thinking like, man, this book is like 200-300 bucks. Like I can't justify keeping it. Like I could buy 5 omnibuses that are coming out and within this next month that I want. And sometimes I do that, depending on the book. Like if it's an X-Men, I have a lot of X-Men books that are the X-Men books always go up in price, and I never get rid of those because I collect X-Men. Those I physically want the whole collection, so I don't get rid of those unless it's like a trade or a big epic collection or something. I might get rid of those, but I don't get rid of the omnibuses. The only X-Men omnibus I got rid of was X-Force, and I had to really think about it for a while if I wanted to do it because I only did it because I got it and I traded it for the Usagi Jimbo Volume One, which was also another book I wanted. So I was like, which one do I really want more? So I just kind of rolled the dice. I was like, Marvel's a big company. Maybe one day they'll reprint it. I go, this is Usagi Jimbo book. It's never getting reprinted. So this way, there's a chance. With Osaka, there's no chance. So that's why I did that deal.
It's like this. It's like Marvel's a big company, so you're gonna think, oh, they'll reprint it because they're a big company. You know, people are gonna want that, so you're gonna give everybody a chance to get it. But at the same time, when they are printed, it's a big company, so it's gone fast.
Yeah, yeah. Because
So
I'm looking at their things. They usually print about 9,000 when they do the omnibuses. It's usually between 7 and 9,000 depending on the title. Like if it's X-Men, it gets like around 9,000 copies. Spider-Man 9,000. If it's somebody else, it might get like 7,000, which is a pretty big number for such an expensive book because the market is it's a small market for of people that buy big omnibuses and stuff since they're so pricey. Not everybody gets those. It's like a niche collector niche group, but trades and stuff that make 30,000, 40,000 copies. And I noticed with other
see, I
companies,
didn't know any of that.
yeah,
That's
with
the first
other
time I've heard
companies
that.
like Dark Horse, um, Boom, stuff like that, they'll make like 1,000 copies, 3,000, 2,000. They don't make that many, and Marvel makes like 9,000, which is like three times more.
Um, Sometimes like I'll see something I want, and then I'm like, oh, I already spent my budget, you know, like, but then I'm like, ah, and then I'll just get it anyways.
Yeah, yeah. So I've done that a few times too. I try not to stop myself from doing it now, but yeah, I used to do that. Sometimes I'll spend more than I should, and I'm like, oh, why did
Yeah,
I do that? I need this and that. What helped me too is I
yeah.
stopped playing video games. So most of my video game money, and I kind of don't drink as much no more. So a lot of my beer money and video game money goes towards buying books. Like I basically traded one hobby for another.
I did too, because I used to play a lot of video games also, and I don't really play them anymore.
Yeah, and
I
video
just
games they constantly drop in price. They go down and down. You buy it for $60. Next year it's a $20 game. The books you buy for
yeah,
60, they tend to hold their value.
yeah. But
Also, yeah, I don't play like even once in a while when I do buy games, when I find them on the cheap that they're old games like at 2, $3, I'll buy a few and I find myself not playing them because I use that time to read instead.
Yeah, like I think I just bought some video games on Black Friday, and I haven't really played them. So
Yeah, same here. I bought the Darksiders Part One, Part Two, Bloodborne, the Metal Slug Collection. I bought a bunch of games that were like $1 to $2, so they were like super cheap. With like $30, I bought like 10 games.
I did play Lego DC Supervillains though. Those Lego games are pretty cool, man.
I think they're giving one
Um,
free right now. I think I'm not sure. I ended up getting a lot of stuff. I got a vacuum cleaner. Oh, I got a few things like for around the house that were on sale. I saw the toothpaste, the 3D white. They were for like
yeah,
$1. So I bought like 10 of those tubes.
I think I bought I also bought the Justice League movie.
Okay, it's pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised by it. I thought it wasn't gonna
Well,
be that good, and it ended up being real good. To me
for
at least, it was
me,
great. Because when I saw the commercial, I was like, "Oh, that movie looks like garbage. Like that shit looks so weak." And so I was like, I didn't even bother with it. Then I got the DVD. One of my friends sold it to me for like $1. So when I no, he sold me a copy for $1, a burn copy from his. So I put it on, and I was like it was basically $1 to go buy the blank disc so he could record it for me. And and when I threw it on, I was expecting it to be kind of terrible, like Suicide Squad. And when I watched it, I was like, wow, I go, this is actually pretty good. I go, it's not that bad.
uh, I didn't like it.
Yeah, you thought it was a
Well,
bit whack.
I liked some of the characters, but I mean, I was actually surprised by Aquaman because he wasn't like the typical like positive, optimistic hero. He was kind of like just somebody who was like kind of negative. He was kind of pessimistic, and I didn't expect it. I guess some of the stuff he'd say, and
All
I
right,
just
like me,
figured that
yeah, I was gonna say like
I
me, I
don't
grew up
remember
with
what.
I was reading comics in the '90s. Then I didn't get back to them till like 3 years ago, or more, like 4 years ago. So when I was reading comics, I didn't follow DC. I don't really know a lot about. I know the characters how they look as the cartoons, but I don't really know their thing, their stories, or anything like that. And to me, Aquaman was always the guy with the hook and a beard. So when I hear about this other Aquaman, it's like I'm not even familiar with the Aquaman. I didn't even know about him. I thought Aquaman was always like the guy with the beard, the guy with the hook that was kind of like a badass, like a barbarian. So when I hear that no, Aquaman's supposed to be this way, like positive and very diplomatic and so forth, I was like, wow, I go, that's like not the Aquaman I'm familiar with at all. And this one on the movie is a lot closer to the one I picture in my head.
I just he just doesn't look like an Arthur Curry to me. But other than that, I like his personality. Like, but it just like if you read Peter David's Aquaman, it's not gonna look like Jason Momoa. But I haven't read enough of it. I think I only read like 2 issues of it, but it was pretty good from 2 issues. I
Right,
still
right.
bought it
Yeah,
though
I'm
because
gonna buy those
Aquaman's
trades.
my
I'm gonna
favorite.
definitely buy those '90s Aquaman the trade paperbacks that are coming out. I'm gonna be getting
Yeah,
those. And since Aquaman's not as popular a character, I'm pretty sure they'll drop in price. So once they drop a little, I'll probably buy them.
yeah. Everyone's talking about the Jeff Johns omnibus though, so I'm sure
Yeah, I
that
just
one's
ordered
gonna
that
come.
already too. So I'm getting that and the Peter David ones, and the only other Aquaman I'm really interested in is probably the Dan Abnett because I like him as a writer.
Oh, so you're gonna get that Hunt for
No, I'm
Mira?
waiting to see if they make omnibuses of that or if they make the oversized hardcovers. If they do those, I will buy them. The trades, right now I'm just reading it digital. Actually, I stopped like on issue 7 or something. They're already like on issue 30. But yeah, I kind of stopped because I was waiting to see if they bring out the hardcovers. The rebirth I'm interested in is Detective Comics and Aquaman and maybe Batman.
I think James Tinian writes some of the detective comics for Rebirth. He's like
Okay.
one of my favorite writers right now.
Who? Which one?
His name's James Tinian.
Okay, I haven't read a
Yeah,
lot of current stuff, but I did read some of the when Rebirth started. I did read a lot of That's the only time I was really reading a lot of current stuff digitally, just to see what they were doing with the new reboot. Yeah, Neymar would be good. If Marvel should bring Neymar, you mean like in the movies in the MCU or in comics? I'm down with Neymar. I like him as a character. I think he's kind of badass, and I kind of want to get to know more about Aquaman as well, especially with all the movie
He's
hype right now.
a character. It used to be Green Arrow and Nightwing. Now it's Aquaman. But this is why I'm so excited for the movie. I think the movie came out today, right?
I think it came out. Did it come out today? I'm not even sure.
I I, I think
Eh,
so.
yeah, it probably. I don't know if it came out today or if it came out last week. I've been seeing a lot of people posting reviews and stuff already. Yeah,
Are you
Neymar in
gonna
the
see it?
MCU. Trigonosis. What would you like to see Neymar like in a Fantastic Four movie, in an X-Men movie? What would you like to see him debut, or just his own standalone movie?
I can't see the chat. Is there people in the chat?
Yeah, you gotta put pop out chat. I'll show you next time before we go live how you click on it. You could just click on
Okay.
YouTube to our video right now and just lower the volume and read the chat right there. Just lower the volume so we don't get feedback. Or one last thing, let's talk a little bit about that. Then we'll get to the reviews already, to the review of the book. We next time we'll do the review first, and then we'll just chat for a while like this, and we'll wing it. I think that'd be a nice one too from Defend Atlantis from the Humans. That wouldn't be bad. That's what I said. If they start X-Men, when they start their X-Men movies, I was saying what they should do because I know they were talking about making a Kitty Pryde movie, maybe a Storm movie, this and that, right? Well, my idea is you could make movies about these characters, but disguise it as an X-Men movie. You see what I'm saying? If you just call it
I
Kitty Pryde,
always
you just call it Storm, it's not gonna not people are not gonna watch it. Call it X-Men, but like for example, how they did with the Wolverine movies, they called it X Men, but really it was all about Wolverine, right? So you make like X Men Part One will be the introduction of, let's say, Kitty Pryde. She just joins the X Men, so the story is heavily based on her. It's really like a Kitty Pryde movie with the X Men just kind of in the background, like they're there, but she's the main protagonist. Then the next movie you introduce Storm, or first you introduce Storm, and then the same thing. You make it an X-Men movie, but really it's more about Storm. You know, like it's about her thing and how she got to the X-Men stuff. Like you introduce these characters, but you don't give them their own solo movie with titling it their name only, because then they won't sell. You gotta title it X-Men. That's the brand. Title it X-Men, but it's really low key a Storm movie. Title X-Men, but
so
really it's
you're
you
saying
see
that
what
the
I'm
title
saying?
has to be appealing.
Yeah, the title has to be. It's like clickbait on YouTube. The title has to be something that makes you want to check it out. The only
Yeah.
X Men character you could really do that with is Wolverine. He's the only one you could title it Wolverine because he's popular enough, got enough juice. Like they wanted to make a Silver Sable movie. You know how, and everybody immediately wants to bitch about it. Oh, be whack, this and that. Any movie, any character can be cool if you make them cool. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
imagine a movie called Sabretooth, you know?
Yeah. Sabretooth, I think he's famous enough he could hold his own movie probably. But I
He's
think a
my
movie like
favorite X-Men.
Silver Sable, you probably call it Spider-Man, but you make it more about Silver Sable. She becomes the main character there. Because Silver Sable, Black Widow, I think these are characters you could make a movie with a low budget with 50, 70 million dollars, somewhere in between there. And it's just a basic action movie. They don't have like special powers or anything. And they'll easily make those 50 million back. They'll make like 200 million. You know, like
Well,
they'll
honestly,
double up the money.
the book we're going to be talking about tonight is kind of similar to that. What you're talking about, in a way,
I don't know. I
from
think
what I've
Silver
read
Surfer
so
is someone that would need a big budget because all that space stuff and other planets and all special effects it would take.
I always thought that for Wolverine, if they were going to do like an old man Wolverine, like they did with Old Man Hawkeye, I always thought they could use Mel Gibson.
as Wolverine.
'Cause-
I like
yeah,
Rocky.
because
I
he's
like Rocky
short and
as old
strong.
man Logan because he's buff and he's short.
Who?
Sylvester Stallone, Rocky,
I don't know, man. We could try that.
he'll be old man. Oh, nah, he's too old now. Maybe 15 years ago he could have been old man Logan.
Yeah. I still haven't seen any of those movies. I've seen X-Men 1, the very first one. I don't know what year that came out, but I seen that one.
All right. So you want to get started on the book? We'll get started on the book, review it, and then once we're done, then we could just go back to chatting like this, just freestyling.
Yeah, if you got your copy, you could just show the pictures and stuff if you want, or
This is basically the art you guys are gonna get. This style art. You see this girl here. She's one of the main characters. Silver Surfer. This art. I really like the way Galactus looks right there. I'm digging the art. It's not bad. It's artwork by Mike Allred and written by Dan Slott. This is my first Dan Slott book I've read, and it's the first Mike Allred art I've been introduced to. No, I read some of his ecstatics. No, not was ecstatics. Madman. That one was okay, but I never finished the whole book. And at first,
oh, Madman and Atomic Comics you're talking about, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I read
Yeah.
some of that, and to me, it's always like it takes a little getting used to, but once it gets flowing, I really like the. I think he's really creative. The things he does. And one thing I like about his art is it's his own thing. He gives it its his own flavor. Like I like when artists are not scared to just be completely different from everybody else to make their art
Oh,
stand
he
out.
is different.
Like, yeah, they have to take
He's
risks. 'Cause how some guys say if your stuff is sound, it's basic, it's safe, you always have a job, but you'll never stand out. You'll never be a big name. You have to do something that stands out that's different from any other artist. And he does that. Some people like it, some people don't like it. Yeah, I respect that he took a style and went with it because he clearly is not a professional artist. If he wants to, he could draw different styles, but he went with one that's his thing, like his branding of himself.
well for me. I see a similarity in the facial features of the Silver Surfer character that he drew with the Madman character. They kind of look similar in a way, but
Okay, yeah, his art is it's very simplistic. It's very clean, not a lot of cross hashing or shades, none of that stuff. Very clean, polished, and it also has like these very thick double lines, which I kind of like.
I like some of the art, but like the actual characters, like the detail on the characters themselves is good. But some of the surroundings, like the buildings or the vehicles, some of them I'm like, it's all right.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I also you know what really stood out to me on this that made it different from because other than that, like his art would be like a kind of cartoony art that you've seen before.
Yeah,
But
some of the stuff I've seen, yeah.
these colors really stood out to me. They really pop out. They really come at you. It's very
Yeah,
bright colors,
that's one
very
thing I
like
noticed about the whole book. It's the colors are very vibrant and they pop.
yeah.
And some of the brightest coloring I've seen, but that's
Reminds me
one
of
thing that is good
you know who
about
Andy
it.
Warhol is? I don't know
What?
if you're familiar with what the artist Andy Warhol. It's kind of similar
Not
to that type of style.
no, I don't know. What books has he worked on?
He's just like an artist. He's not a comic book artist. He's like a painter,
Oh,
like an artist. But
uh,
it's very similar style to his. He does a lot of this
really?
type of style for like he used to do advertisement, I think, for like Coca-Cola and stuff like that back in the days, like in the 80s, I think. And then you saw the cartoon characters, the way he drew them drinking like soda and stuff is very similar style.
I didn't. I don't. I've never heard of him. I'll have to like look it up.
His art is he was known for kind of inventing that pop art style. I think that's what they call it. But yeah, it's very reminiscent of that type of color, that type of pencils. And also even the colors are kind of like that.
But the thing I do appreciate about that book is that it's the same artist all the way through. So because you get those stories sometimes where they switch artists and it
Oh
just
yeah,
looks completely different.
yeah. I really like the way he drew Hulk here when it went to the Hulk stuff with Hulk and Doctor Strange. I thought that's what his
Yeah,
art is. Like you see him, like
I
when
was.
you get, it takes you a minute to start getting used to the art. Then as he introduces other characters, I was like, man, I'm digging the way he's drawing these guys. At first, I was like, I'm not sure about the art, and it just keeps getting
That's
better
why
as
I
the
said
story goes.
I don't know about this. You know, first three issues is like I don't know about this, and I just kept reading. I just fought through it and read it. It picks up. I would say picks up around for me. It picked up around the end of the fourth issue, so beginning of the fifth.
Okay, yeah, I know they had a part where they introduced the Guardians of the Galaxy, but they're not really big in the story. They're not really involved that much. They're just in a minor scene. But then they bring out Doctor Strange and Hulk, and I thought he did a really good job drawing them. They look badass right here. I think
Well,
Hulk,
I
he
just
really nailed Hulk the way I like Hulk to look. Very like um I don't want to say barbaric. I just can't. A better word is not coming to me right now. But like he's kind of like Neanderthal caveman kind of thing, and I really like the way he looks right there. That's the Hulk I like kind of like it's closer to Jack Kirby's Hulk. I like that style than to like McFarlane's or somebody's, like where they draw them all buff and in shape. This guy just draws them big, and that's kind of how I
yeah,
like
and
looking.
I think the colors went well with the Hulk in that book too. How bright they were, how vibrant they were. I think it went like it
Yeah,
made them pop.
yeah, and also when you see the art, it's just a lot of fun. You look at the art, you look at the fight scenes and action scenes, and it just screams like fun, entertaining. The read is very light read. It's nothing too complicated, very basic story, and I think it's meant to be like a little bit funny and stuff like that. And the
Yeah,
art
you
just
get those. You
the
get
art
those.
goes well with the style of story they're telling.
You get those kind of those typical jokes, superhero jokes,
Yeah, yeah, they do a lot of little
reminiscent of
jokes. Like
Deadpool style.
it's self-aware of the stuff that like the things they're doing in the stories. They know it's kind of dumb, and they make fun of it. Like they point out that we know this is dumb. Like it's supposed to be just funny and stuff. It's not supposed to be like a serious story.
At first, you get this kind of like he's like a mentor to this girl. Basically, I'm gonna look after you. I have to look after you. I have to get you back home. You know,
Yeah,
and then
yeah, it's crazy because the story, what the actual story is kind of big, like important things happening. But the way the style of story is not taking it too serious, even though it's like, oh, it could be the end of the world today, but they're not
yeah,
acting like it's
I
the end of
want
the
to talk
world.
about it. I want to talk about it without giving spoilers away. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to talk about it as best as I can without giving spoilers away.
Yeah,
But
we're definitely gonna get spoilers away right now for these first six issues. We're gonna do it right now. First, we're just doing this part where we give our opinions, vague descriptions, and then we're gonna get into the actual story and we're gonna point out stuff like in case for the people that just want to hear the story and are not interested in reading it. We'll get into that right now too.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, so all in all, I had fun with it. I don't know if it's something I would reread, but I did enjoy it enough to finish reading it, and I also like that this is not your typical Hulk or Doctor Strange or Silver Surfer. It's a different take on these characters. They don't act like they would normally act. Like they're doing different things. It's something that I don't think it's part of continuity. I really doubt it is. It's its own thing. You could it's very beginner friendly. You could just read it here. You don't need to know anything about continuity or the past of these characters because none of that you rely on any of that here because they don't even act like how they normally do. It's like its own. You could almost say like if it was another universe here, right? Like its own thing.
well, yeah. Like the thing I was gonna say is that there's these twins. There's the twin sisters in the story, and they become like the important part of the story in a way. In a way, because the I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to spoil nothing.
Yeah.
But
Well, you know what? Yeah. Let's. I mean, I think we gave a fair idea of what the story is without spoilers. I think everybody kind of got the gist of what it's about and the art style, the writing, whatever. And now we're gonna get into the actual story. We're gonna talk about it. So we'll get into spoilers for in case somebody doesn't wanna hear the spoilers. Maybe tune back in later. And if you just wanna anxious or you wanna know what happens in the story, you wanna know what happened in these first 6 issues to see if it sounds interesting enough that you might want to buy it after, then that's what we're gonna get into right now. So yeah, so feel free to just talk about the we'll go into the story more into details right now. Yeah, so it starts off with the two twins, how you were saying. And yeah, it starts off where there's a shooting star. It turns out it's Silver Surfer. He's Galactus's herald, and the dad tells the two twins, little girls, make a wish. It's a falling star, and that's where the story begins. So you want to talk a little bit about what happens in this first issue?
Well, there's a wish that they make, and one sister, I am trying to look right now. Just go ahead and talk about what you think, and I'll try to find something I like right now, real quick.
Yeah, it's two sisters. They're constantly fighting. They're twins. You know, as siblings will fight when they're little kids. Sometimes even as adults. One wishes that I want to get the hell out of the city. The other one wishes to. She's like, why would you ever want to leave the city? It's the best city, whatever. So they told her just wish for something, and she wishes for there to never be for the falling stars to never fall. And the falling star was Galactus. So technically, by her wishing this, I think she kind of like saved them or something. I can't even recall anymore. But I think that wish saved them. So it comes back full circle where later she gets kidnapped or something and he has to protect her because she at one point did a favor for him with that wish. Now as a grown adult, she's rolling with Silver Surfer because he's saving her. And I like the relationship with the two sisters because as they're older, they're still the same. One likes to travel the world, she's up and down everywhere, and the other one never leaves her small little town. She's like just doesn't want change, wants to play it safe, and the other one is very outgoing and adventurous and wants to see the world, wants to see new things. Same seeing the same
The
thing bores her. She likes to keep it fresh. So they're completely
the
yin and
dad actually
yang.
puts them in the dad actually puts them in different outfits so he can tell them apart too. So
Yeah, he
I
puts
thought
them
that
in
was pretty
different
cool.
clothes. Yeah, so that's a trip. That the one that's always like scared of change, wanting to be home, is the one that gets kidnapped, and she ends up being the one that's seeing all kinds of space and galaxies and all kinds of things. It would have been like the
Yeah,
other twin's dream, but
she's the
the one
like
that didn't want that is the one that got all that.
she's like the traditional homebody type that doesn't want to travel nowhere, and she's the one that has to find her
Yeah,
way
she's the one
back. You
going
know?
everywhere. So it's an interesting contrast because they make her go everywhere, and by doing this, maybe she broadens her horizons and opens her eyes a little bit more to the rest of the world, and doesn't just stay at home. We haven't got far enough to see if these adventures affect her personality, or maybe now she wants to see more, wants to know what else is out there. Well, right now we're barely getting back home at the end of issue 6. She's back home and so forth, so we don't know how this journey is gonna affect her in the following issues. Hopefully next week we do the next 6 or maybe 12, depending on how much we read.
A good thing I want to point out is that the sister that wants to travel is the one that's stuck at home because she's worried about the one that wants to be at home because she's missing.
Yeah,
And
they
then
switch roles. The one that doesn't want to be out there is all over the planet, the galaxy, and the one that
yeah,
wants to travel and stuff is stuck, yeah, at home taking her place with the chores, taking care of dad because he's older and stuff like that. And she's like, great, I'm living my sister's life now, and the sister's living her life now because of the situation and circumstances that life presented them with. So that
yeah,
was kind of interesting. So maybe they both learn to appreciate the other person's lifestyle choices and so forth.
she was upset, I think, because it was against her will. Like she said, "Oh, now I'm gonna be like you, and I don't want to be this way. This is my nightmare."
Yeah, the other one, because yeah, and once we get to like a third issue, they had something with those nightmares that everybody you're getting to see everybody's worst nightmares, and she kind of gets her feelings hurt that her sister's worst nightmare is living her life of just being at home and not being adventurous or not being a risk taker, just being very safe. And she's like, "This is so boring. What a nightmare! I'm living her life. Like she's a grandma. I'm living a grandma's life." Like, and she's like, "Oh, living my life is a nightmare to her." You know, like
Yeah, it picks up pretty well. It's got a good pace. These 6 issues, you know, I mean, you can't expect much out of a first issue sometimes, and but this one had a pretty good pace to it. Like I said, it
I
took me
don't read a
about
lot of Silver Surfer. I don't know too much about him. I saw what I
me
saw in
either.
that movie of Part Two, which I really liked. Fantastic Four Part Two with Silver Surfer. I like the way he was presented there. He's exactly kind of what I picture him to talk and act like. I don't know. Some people didn't like it. I really strongly feel that the reason they didn't like it is because Galactus didn't come out. It was just a big planet. Had it been the actual Galactus, people would have liked the movie. I think. But yeah, so that's
I haven't
basically
seen
all
the
I know about.
Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah, that's basically all I know really about Silver Surfer. But I have seen like I flipped through pages of comics of his and stuff, and I like this interesting thing that Mike Allred does here. Whenever he's standing like in front of somebody or he's walking somewhere, he's like a mirror because he's silver. So you see the reflection of the persons on him like a mirror, and on his surfboard, people use a surfboard as a mirror to look at themselves. And I thought that was interesting. Like I'm gonna give you an example. This page right here, the you see how the people are reflecting off of him because he's silver,
Yeah,
and that makes sense. He's silver, like if you got rims or something, everything reflects off it like a mirror. And I've never seen another artist do this with Silver Surfer. I thought that was pretty cool. Like that's makes sense. I'm surprised like I haven't seen somebody else do the same thing.
what did you think of the villain in the first issue, Zed?
That he was okay. He was kind of one note. He didn't have a lot to him, not too much depth. It was a weird design. He was designed with his extra.
He had that third eye.
Yeah, he had a third eye and an extra mouth on his throat.
Yeah,
And that story, it never felt like a big end of the world story, but it was. It's like, oh, if Sid cut out the heart of somebody, of one of those cosmic beams that was gonna die, and if that beam dies, planets die, and so forth. So they had
yeah.
to
It
go
was
restore the
the
heart, and it was like a big thing. And it never, actually, I felt a little bit like that, but because of the way the dialogue is and stuff, nobody's ever stressed out. They're joking around, so nobody's like, oh my god, like in panic.
wasn't the her name was the End Queen, right? Was it End Queen?
Yeah, she was the only one that was like kind of a serious character because she was the one dying. Everybody
Yeah, I mean,
else was chill for the most part.
that's an issue too. So
Yeah,
I don't really want to talk about that yet.
yeah, we could get to issue two
Like
right now. Where
like I
I told
said,
you
issue
the
one.
started. It really it wasn't my thing at first, but it really started. I really started getting into it as we went along.
Sometimes I can like some parts of the artwork. I'm just kind of like it's all right. It's
Like
not that great, but
yeah, it's
like
not
I
your
said,
thing. It's not enough detail or action packed.
like this right here.
Oh, that's where I'm at right now too. That's what I was flipping through right now too. It's would you say this if you don't like superhero comic books, would you say you could still pick this up and enjoy it if you don't like anything action packed and superhero-y and
Uh, you'd have to have kind of a good attention span because the first issue is slow, I think. But I mean, you have to have patience too because I mean, this is the first time I've read this and I liked it. It just took me a while.
yeah, I think I would recommend this to somebody that doesn't know about Silver Surfer or about comics because it doesn't bog you down with a lot of baggage. Like you don't have to know stuff about any other characters. You could just hop in. You just know Silver Surfer is a herald, and as the story goes, they explain to you what that means and his whole thing. And everybody else, you don't really need to know much about them because they're just there to move the story along. It's not really to talk about those characters. They're just there to help solve the mission or save the day or whatever. They just
Yeah,
come in and out.
things will come up later on that will be explained, so you won't be lost, you know.
Okay, yeah, like I'm looking at a page right here when the end queen she's right here dying. I like the way they show the page. Really, it's a splash page, one page splash page. You see it there. You see Silver Surfer all smaller. See, I like the way they do that. Also, here's
Yeah,
Silver Surfer flying towards the screen. That just looks clean to me. Like that's real nice right there. I like the way he moves the story along pretty quick. It's fast paced, and I feel like the dialogue is the same. It moves pretty fast. It doesn't drag on too long. Like it doesn't drag a point or a story arc out too much. It gets to where it's going in a hurry. Kind of like those old Golden Age comics where you finish the whole story on one issue.
I have Golden Age Superman. That's the only Golden Age I got right now.
Yeah, like in those
But
old issues, the things happen fast. Like you go through like in one issue, you get a whole something that would happen and it'll build up six
it's
issues
like
in today's book.
a beginning, a middle, and an end in
Build
one
it up.
issue, right?
Yeah, like in today's books, you have six issues to build up the story. And those old Golden Age, in one issue, you get all that same stuff done in one issue. So things page to page are just moving. Like they're just like there's no
I
like
think I read it
not a downtime.
Action Comics #1. I think I read that one just through Superman Golden Age, and it was like a beginning, middle, end type issue. But this first issue, I wanted to talk about how Zed appears to be someone who is just looking for a champion. That's what they call Silver Surfer. They call him the champion, and they need him to do this thing to where they basically want him to go get his hands dirty for something that they want, and
Yeah, they
it ends
want him
up
to fix
being
their problems, and that's how they kidnap the girl. They want him to fix his problems, and he kind of doesn't want to. So they kidnap this girl, and they're like, "Oh, we're not gonna let her go till you do what we said," basically. So he has to
yeah.
reluctantly
It's
go
like
be a hero.
collateral.
Then you find out what
It's
they want done with this whole thing that happened was because of said. He comes off as a victim at first, but he's really manipulating everybody, or he's really the villain. So
yeah,
that was kind of cool, but he never looked like a victim to me. He always looked shady.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just his third eye and his two mouths. There was
Yeah,
always something strange about him.
that creepy look said they didn't scream good guy. You know what I mean? Like his whole
Yeah, but
maybe you're just judging the book by its cover. Like I look at him, I was like, yo, if I was the Guardians of the Galaxy and I was one of these intergalactic police, I would definitely stop and search this cat. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah. But I think it was a good twist, for a first issue.
yeah. But by the time we got to the reveal, he's the villain and they're fighting and stuff. That's like in the I think that's already the second issue when this happens. I was already like pretty into the story already. I like the characters too, the way they all act and stuff.
I just like the motives
They
behind
all
the
kind of
villain, like what
pretty,
they want.
pretty friendly and likable. Nobody's really like nobody's really annoying or like real evil or anything like that.
Well, it's all about this place called the Empiricon, which it's somebody wanting control over it, you know. It's basically like running a town, and the person wants control over it. It's called the Empiricon. It's the planet.
Yeah, and what about the like I like how they point out little stuff like when right now that I was talking about racial profiling Zed because of his appearance. They do that with
Yeah.
the other alien that has a big brain. Did you see that part where
Oh,
they're like, "Oh,
but
how
there's
do
an
we escape
opposite.
from here?" And he's like, "Let's go this way, let's go this way." And they're following his lead, and he keeps guiding them to the wrong ways. And they're like, "Why you
There's
keep
a
making mistakes?" He goes, "I don't know." He goes, I don't know this place. You guys were just following me." He goes, "Because we thought you knew what you were doing." He goes, "Just because I have a big brain, everybody always thinks I know what I'm doing."
yeah. That's like a freaking inside joke within that character
Yeah, it's
because
like
he's
a
got
little
this big
stereotype
brain.
that they're assuming shit because based on the way he looks, they assume he's smart just because
Yeah,
his brain's so big.
yeah.
Not
I
knowing
actually that
everybody
was one of my favorite.
is like that, you know?
That was probably one of my favorite things about the book. About what I read. Hearing that,
Yeah, it definitely
and
has a
just
lot of little moments like that. Like I said, it's definitely more comedic. It's not to be taken as serious, even though the stories and the situations, it's Silver Surfer, so his situations are always every situation of his is the end of the world situation. They're never like low key little dangers that are happening around the block like Batman. They're always like big scale. stuff because he's a cosmic being. But those stories are like big situations, but it never feels that way. It always feels like um like fun and like it's not a big deal. No matter if it's the world's coming to an end, the galaxy never the characters never make it feel like it's a big deal.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. I was gonna like say something about that. How in the beginning it's like he seems like kind of like nihilistic, like he could care less what happens, but at the same time he's helping. And then she's like, "Why don't you do this? Why don't you help them too, so we can stop this for good?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I should." Like
Yep. Also, this part right here when he leaves on the board, I found this weird. I think it was just to get to another. They had to sow the seeds to get to another point in the story later. But when it originally happened, it made no sense. Then later you find out he just did something that makes no sense because it somehow helps another character later. He
yeah, that's
finds a
what I was
dead
saying.
alien
That's
floating. He finds a dead alien floating in space. He grabs this alien and he puts on that alien's armor. He goes, "This guy was a great warrior," so he puts that alien's armor on. I was like, "Why did he do that? That makes no sense." He silvers up. You call it silver up. When he silvers up, he's all silver, and when he's all silver, he's indestructible. So that is his armor. Why would he need to throw other armor on? That made no sense. I was like, and at the same time, I was like, well, it's comics, and especially the way this story is, it's meant to not overthink things, just let them happen. But that
well,
made
I'm
no
just
sense.
thinking that maybe you'll find out later on. Something will always be
Yeah, 'cause
explained
he
somewhere
wears
later
his
on.
armor here, and yeah, here you see him touching the surfboard, and as he touches the surfboard to see what he has to do, it shows the shape of the girl, so he knows who he has to go save. So the surfboard
Yeah.
shows him like a television screen how the girl looks. So he goes to save her, and he's wearing this armor. When he goes to save her on this dead alien, the dad of that dead alien is also trapped there. So when
What
the
was his
dad sees
name?
that armor,
Battle One or something
yeah,
like that?
Babylon,
Battle One?
Babylon. So when he sees the Silver Surfer with the armor, he says, "That's my son's armor." So he goes, "The people from our race, we don't take our armor off unless we're dead. We never willingly give it up." He goes, "So you killed my son." So I was like, okay, that's why they had him put on the armor so that Babylon could say, "Oh, my son's dead," so he could find out his son's dead. Okay, I see why they do it story wise, but why did Silver Surfer do it when he doesn't need that armor? You know
Because
what
he
I
was
mean?
there.
Like, yeah, I was like, why did Silver Surfer get the armor though? He don't need it. Battleline
I
was.
think he
Hmm.
I think he needed it because he what do they call it when he takes his silver off? He's silver in or silver out or something like that.
Oh,
I forgot what they.
you're right. He silvers off. He silvers off when
Yeah,
he gets off the board, so he needs armor because he's just his normal human self. Yeah, you're
yeah,
right. I forgot about that part. He's his own normal human self for a little while.
yeah.
And it's funny,
See,
this guy is a great warrior, and his name is Battleline because he always wants to fight to the death.
well, because when he's human form, he's Norrin Rad. He's not Silver Surfer.
Yeah, yeah, he has a different name. And then
So
so once here they save the girl, they go back to Earth, and he looks kind of like Professor Xavier when he's not silvered up. But
yeah,
it's
he
funny
did.
when they
He
go
did.
back to Earth. He takes the girl back home, saves her. He's trying to find out why did he have to save her when he doesn't know her, and the dad's gonna cook some
He was
food.
trying to figure out his responsibility for her. Like he
Yeah,
couldn't he couldn't like put a finger on why he was responsible, but it was because of it goes back into the story back in time. It was because of her wishes.
yeah, because she made that wish back in the days, back as a youngster.
Yeah, and those are good twists. That's what a good story does.
Yeah, it references stuff that happened a few issues before, so that when they originally did that, they were going somewhere with it. Like
I
the whole
mean,
wish
you got to think
part, it was for a point.
about the direction popular movies take. Like look at the cult following for Pulp Fiction and the direct like how it was written, how it would go from this point to this point, and how these people met up
Yeah, I
within the
love that.
movie.
Like when Deadpool, for example, I love when a movie it starts during a big action scene halfway, and instead of moving forward on a story, they go backwards. They start in a big action scene to grab you. Once they got your attention, they go, "So how did we get to the shootout?" Then they go backwards. Well, 3 months ago, and they build up to it. Because if you start from
Yeah, so
ago and you start the story to how they got to the shootout first, it's gonna be boring. So you want to start with the action scene first. So they already grab your attention, and now you want to know how did we get there. Then you go back and tell that. Like I have that problem with movies like Superman, where they tell the origin, and they're going
yeah,
slowly as he becomes a grown up. Becomes it's like oh, like it gets boring, and then by the time the good stuff happens, some people have already lost interest. So it's better if he starts where he's like fighting already as Superman in a big battle or something, and then they go backwards like they did in Deadpool. They start on the freeway and
yeah.
shoot out, and then they go backwards when he gets his arms broken by Colossus. He goes, "You might want to know how I was ended up on this freeway." And they go back. Well, 3 months ago, my girlfriend this happened, and I caught cancer. Then you go back to the beginning. I think that works
Yeah.
better because it grabs the audience from the get go.
But this is the thing. This is what I'm gonna tell people about this Silver Surfer book is that like we're saying how it goes back to things that happened previously in earlier parts of the issue or in earlier issues. And that's the thing is certain things will happen in the beginning where you'll be like, I don't know if I want to keep reading this, but then you should keep reading it because later on it's going to tie into something that happened earlier.
Yeah,
So I would recommend reading it to
yeah.
anyone.
Also the you saw the part where they got that monkey. There's this big heart that when they're saving that heart from that girl that got her heart, the end queen.
The monkey was like a this
Yeah,
disguise for
Silver
it,
Surfer
right?
gets the heart and somehow shrinks it with his cosmic powers and puts it into a
Yeah.
little monkey. And I was like, where the hell did this monkey come from? He just automatically that toy monkey appeared in space. And then he explains to her later, she's like, this is just a toy monkey. He explains to her, no, it's the heart. But your little human mind could never comprehend this. It's just gonna be too much for you. So I made it so visually to you it's gonna look like something familiar to you, whatever pops in your head. And she happened to be thinking of one of her old toys from her childhood. So that's
See,
what it looks
I
to
didn't,
her, but really it's really that toy holds the balance of the galaxy. Like it's very important.
I didn't catch that, so I'm glad you said that because I didn't catch that. But that's a good thing to know. But
It's funny because you said something like the fate of the galaxy balances in your hands because she's walking around with it. He goes, so don't drop that, don't lose it. While he's fighting the big bad, while he's fighting Sid, she has to escape on the board with it.
yeah,
Oh no, on another spaceship, I think.
the humor too, the things that because he goes to me, my board. You know, he calls his board that way. He goes to me, my board, and then she starts hanging out with him. And she goes, "Where's to me?" He goes, What's to me?" And she's like, "Your board. Isn't that the name of your board?"
Yeah, she's like, hey, yeah, 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 that part was pretty funny. I didn't get it at first either till they explained it.
Yeah,
Here we have okay, we're in issue 4 right now. That's the end of that one. On issue 4, the Guardians of the Galaxy, they make an appearance. I really don't like the way they drew any of the characters from the Guardians. But oh wait up. They only show up in like one page. I like what they did with them here. I don't know, I don't remember them ever doing this before in the comics and the ones I read from them, where Silver Surfer is going to Earth and they kind of stop him like a border patrol. They're like, "Do you have residents to come to the planet Earth? Can we see your papers? Are you here to visit or are you planning to move here?" You
oh
know,
yeah, what was it? What was it? Business?
yeah, yeah. And
What's
he's like, "Nah, I'm just coming
purpose of your
to
visit?
drop her off.
Business or
She's not
pleasure?
working. I'm just here. I'm just dropping her back off home." They're like, "Oh, so you're a resident?" And she's like, "Yeah." And that was kind of tight to me. I like what they did there. They gave it like a real world settings, what where Guardians in space would be, kind of like a border patrol. I was like, oh shit. And then
Yeah, it's kind of like it
it's
puts
funny because
in.
Groot and Raccoon, Rocket Raccoon and Groot, they ask her, "Are you bringing in any strange plants or animals? Because you're not allowed to bring plants or animals from other planets." And then she goes,
Yeah,
"Really? And a plant and animal from another planet are asking me this?" Because it's raccoon and it's tree. It's Groot.
yeah. It was cool to see them though, even for that little bit, you know, like just for that little part of this book.
Yeah, from there where we get to, from there it jumps off to where Hulk and Frankenstein are fighting. And Frankenstein's like, I Frankenstein. And Hulk is like, do I really sound this dumb in the comics? Do I really sound like him? Because it
Did
was
you
making fun
you,
of Hulk
you read the
too. But
you
right
get to the
away,
part where
I
she gets
really
back
enjoyed
home,
the when
right?
Hulk came out here. I really liked the way he drew him. I was like, oh shit, I go, Hulk looks tight.
You got to the part where she gets back home?
Yeah, she's back home and they're fighting Hulk and Doctor Strange are fighting some monsters. And then they figure out the Doctor Strange. He's like, ooh, it's the end of the world. All this is happening. The gate to whatever dimension and so forth, right? So they think it's Silver Surfer, and it ends up being the little girl. Something's going on with the little girl that she stayed awake, and Silver Surfer was eating. He got full, passed out for a little while, and when they came around, Hulk and Doctor Strange, everybody on Earth is asleep. So they're like, everybody on Earth is gonna sleep, and this planet's just gonna die. And she's the
Except
only
for
one.
one person.
Yeah, she's the only one.
Except for
Something to do
except
with
for
her.
one
That's where I
person.
stopped on issue 6. It left off with something to do with. Oh no, that's not where I stopped. It was something to do with her. They go, the Earth's balance is holds with you. You have to save the world. Something's going down, and you're our savior, basically. And Doctor
She had
Strange.
to stay awake. I think that's what it was. She has to stay awake. Her specifically.
Yeah, and in the dreams, that's when we find out about the her twin having the nightmares of wanting not wanting
Becoming her
her life.
sister.
Yeah, then you see Silver Surfer's nightmares. Silver Surfer's nightmares is Galactus is coming back to destroy Earth and to destroy his planet, which is his nightmare, which is why he became a herald, was so that Galactus would not destroy his planet. And I love what Arvid did with the art right here too, man. I really enjoyed the art on this. This really kept me into the book.
Are you talking about the Hulk appearance?
Yeah, he's showing Galactus, the shades of Galactus, like in the background, the shadow. He goes, "This guy came and he's destroying my planet." It never says it's Galactus, but in the dream, you see the big shadow. You know it's him if you're familiar with Silver Surfer, and if you're not, it's a nice little touch that it keeps it mysterious. And that's his nightmare. So you're just thinking, who is this? Who is he so scared of?
Keep in mind, everybody watching, if there's anybody watching, it's only 6 issues we're talking about, and we got a
Yeah.
lot to
This
say
issue is
about
basically
six.
the first volume, the first trade paperback. It's basically we're doing volume 1. I should just call it volume 1.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's crazy. Once that happens, he explains to you the whole silver on thing. But when I silver on, it protects me. It's my armor, and I could silver off and silver on. He talks about all that.
but that's the only time he can enjoy like human food or real food is when he's silver off.
Yeah, yeah, when he silvers off, and then here Doctor Strange, he tells everybody, "Look, man, I'm gonna give you the power to see what's really going on because they can't see the things. It's blind to the human eye. Everybody looks like
Yeah,
normal humans. Everybody looks like normal humans. So once he gives them this power, because you'll see everybody for what they really are, and everybody's like monsters and mutants and stuff like that.
it's like
And then
they
you
call
see
it
it
the
kind
way
of
of
like,
seeing the eye of truth or something like that. They call it
yeah.
see
So he
through the
gets
eye
to
of truth.
everybody's. So we as the reader, we in these panels get to see what Doctor Strange is seeing. We see how these guys are monsters. How the sofas have teeth. They're like possessed, kind of like a scene from Ghostbusters movie. That's
On that page right now.
yeah, and like the humans are some are zombies and some are mutants. You see a guy fishing, all of a sudden you see a giant squid just gobble up the ship with him. You see the arms come in, the 8 arms, and just bring them down. So you know something's wrong with Earth right now. And you see Hulk fighting this big monster for like 4 pages. Already does pure side to side, right to left. Like you don't go, you know how you read a panel like
Yeah,
this?
I got
Yeah, it
that.
goes
That was a
straight right to left
transition I
all the
had
way
to
across
make when
both
I was
pages.
reading.
Yeah, it goes right to left all the way across both pages. Then the second panel, second row, same thing. And in every row on the bottom, you have like a badass fight scene with Hulk and Doctor Strange against the monsters. And in the top row, you always have the nightmare scenes versus the ones from the what's the girl's name? I forgot her name.
There's Eve, and then
Yeah, you
what's
see
the
all
other
the
one?
nightmares from Eve and the panels from right to left. Then you see all the nightmares from her dad,
Dawn.
from her twins. No, you see them from her twin sister, from her dad, and then from Silver Surfer. All on the top right to left panel row, and then the bottom row, it's all the fight scenes in the real world with Hulk and Doctor Strange. I thought that was very creative, and I really enjoyed the way the fight scenes look. I wouldn't say
Yeah,
they're
I like.
exactly like they're not like Jim Lee dynamic or Jack Kirby type of stuff, but there it's its own thing. The way he's moving the action is its own thing, but I like it.
I liked the just the idea of the character. I think his name was Nightmare.
Yeah,
I liked
he's,
it. I
he's
liked that
kind of
he
like
was
Sandman.
making them all see.
Yeah, he was kind of like Sandman. He reminded me of Sandman from that Vertigo comic.
I've never read it.
Yeah, he looks kind of like him, and he's basically this story's interpretation of him. They're like he's Sandman. He's out there controlling people's nightmares right now. So it's basically
Yeah, and
the same thing.
that was probably this is another one that was probably one of my favorite issues to read.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, and so they handle that with Sandman. Not no big battle. The battle was with the nightmares, not really with Sandman. When Sandman woke up, he was like everything's all good. He was having a nightmare. So in him having a nightmare, everybody on Earth was as well. So that was kind of crazy. Yeah, the stories were not the most in depth. They were okay. Like I said, very new beginner friendly. Someone that's like a little younger, 10, 12 could read this with no problem, and nothing's too complicated or anything either.
The jokes aren't like not
Yeah,
for
the jokes
kids
are
or
funny, and they're
kind of
a little
cheesy.
bit childish. They're not too grown up or nothing too raunchy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
I
have
think
fun with this. What would you rate these first 6 issues, this first volume?
uh I think out of all the issues, I would say that my favorite one was probably the sixth one, but I think that probably one and two and three were probably the slowest, so four through six were my favorite.
Yeah,
But
I
what I
agree with
would rate
4 and
of
6.
it,
Yeah, the second
well,
story arc is the one I like more too, the one with Hulk and Doctor
yeah,
Strange. It had two
yeah.
story arcs, 1 to 3, then 4 through 6 was a second story.
Well, because
And yeah, definitely
there
I'm
was
with
the
you
Z
there.
one.
The second one was more fun. I think the first
Yeah,
one was
I
more
think I would
kind of
give it like a
issue
solid eight
than
for
8.
six issues. Yeah.
The 8, that's not bad. I'll give it like a 7 out of 10. Keep in mind if you're like big into continuity and stuff like that, you want the characters a certain way. You might not like this because you're not gonna get that here. You're not gonna get a lot of continuity. You're not gonna get the characters the way you want them to be. You can almost say it's like an elseworld thing or another universe. It's completely its
Yeah,
own
it
thing.
is because it's got, these like it's got the Guardians of Galaxy appearances, it's got the Hulk and Doctor Strange appearances, so it
Yeah, it introduces people from the Marvel universe, but I'm saying you could almost take it as its own thing, like because they're there, but they're not really like, how can I say, they're not really like they don't really do anything with them. I mean, yeah, they're there to fight the bad guys,
they're not
but
impacting the
character-wise, they don't
story
do
very
anything
much.
with them. Like they're just there to fight.
Yeah. But what I was gonna mention too is I think that this becomes like a story that centers more with the twins. Like
Yeah,
the twins
I
play
haven't read
almost a
farther
more
after
important
issue
role.
six. I haven't read after issue 6, but yeah, it looks like it's definitely more a story about the
Yeah, I haven't
people
read that far
and the
either, but
superheroes.
that's the impression I'm getting with it is that these twins are gonna play an important role in the story, like
Yeah,
really
no,
important role.
it's definitely more about the characters, the dad and the family, the two sisters. It's definitely more about that than it is about the heroes. The heroes are just there for the fight scenes to save the day,
Yeah,
but the character development and all that is they don't get any character development here. It's more about the humans, definitely.
but yeah, I mean, I guess if you were a big Silver Surfer fan and you bought this omnibus, your opinion would be more biased, and you'd probably say 9.5. But I mean, for someone like me who doesn't really know that much about him,
I
my
could say
opinion is not.
a lot of the hardcore like Silver Surfer cosmic fans, you gotta take it for what it is. Because if you want it to be like what you're used to reading from this character, a lot of those people from I follow like other forums, other groups, they don't like it. They're like, oh, the Silver Surfer doesn't act like this, and oh, Silver Surfer this, and like they were not a fan of this. And
I know.
so from what they've said, what I've read on comments and stuff, is this is not what Silver Surfer stories are typically like. He's more exploring planets, curious, wondering, more serious. He's not cracking jokes and having people ride along with him on his surfboard and like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, this story is gonna get better. I think. You know, I'm confident in it.
Yeah, I like
But
it so far, and I definitely will finish reading it. And I gotta say, I really like this art a lot more than I thought I would. Because when I originally saw it, I was like, I don't think it's like I read some of his stuff, and I remember not liking it too much, the art. But it definitely, as you read longer,
that's what I thought.
yeah, definitely as you read longer, I like what he does with his art. Not necessarily the style. The style's a little simplistic, nothing too it's not all over details or too like it's not too much or anything. It's very basic, just clean style. But it's more the way he starts telling the story, the way things move. I like it's a lot different than what I'm used to reading with the type of art styles I follow. It's a lot different and it's enjoyable. If it's like I said, if it's what they're doing with the story very well, the way
Yeah, I think so. I think
already
also I think with
great
the
way his art is telling a great story in itself.
I think the art gets better too as the issues go on. You know, like from issue one to issue two, I think the art got better. I think issue two to issue three, art got better. There's for me, it's his art, but it just looks like he got better at drawing it and he got more comfortable drawing it
Yeah,
as the story went on.
yeah. When they were in space, they were doing a lot of weird stuff, and I was like, man, I don't like the way this art is looking. But then I thought
Yeah.
about it because he didn't do it in the second story arc when they're on Earth. So I was like, I think he was doing it on space because a lot of these scenes when they're jumping and doing stuff, they look odd. And I was like, maybe he did it on purpose because they're on space, so they're meant to be like floating and moving around and stuff. So maybe that's why they look weird. And I go, because once they're on Earth, they're not jumping that way and doing those things anymore. They're more like realistic after.
Look at like there's a part where he talks about the sun and he has his board blocking it and like right here, watch. Um, wait, can you see it?
No, not really.
But hold on. But he has like the sun reflecting on his board, and the sun just looks really cartoony.
Right, right.
Yeah, like some of the stuff looks cool, like the details on the characters themselves, like I said, but this some other stuff, it's like it looks kind of the art looks kind of cartoony to me.
Yeah, like where she says, "Oh, the sun, I'm gonna get like I can't look directly at it and this and that." He goes, "We're so far away from it, you don't gotta worry about that. Like we're not on Earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, you gotta remember we're not on Earth, so here the sun ain't gonna even affect you. Like we're like how
but
yeah, right now in other planets they're so far from the sun that they're like frozen.
sometimes for me too, like if the story is good enough, there's parts about the art that I can just let it slide, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it goes both ways. Comics are definitely depending on both. If you have a great story and mediocre art, you can overlook it. You have great art, and I don't mean great like the technique is tight. I mean like the style is good. I mean like great like if the art is great at telling the story, the dialogue doesn't need to be the best because the you could just look at the pages and know what's happening because of the way the
Yeah.
artist is moving it. That I sometimes I just flip through pages like that and I'm like I got a pretty good idea of everything that's happening because this artist is so good at this. Like the guy that wrote Sheriff of Babylon.
Tom King wrote that.
Yeah, yeah. But who drew it? The guy that drew it, the way he moved the panels, he put so many panels, like a lot of 9 panel grids. And like you could feel well, a lot of times when it's just a face, you need to be reading the dialogue to see what they're talking about. But when it's moving the story, when it's like the whole person doing stuff, it almost feels like you're getting one of those old cartoon books where you just flip all the pages and you see the character moving.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah,
like
he
the art
put that.
books.
I'm like, man, this guy's. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy becomes one of those guys that works on movies. They draw the storyboards, how they're
Yeah,
supposed to do from scene to scene. Because a lot of artists do that once they get offers from other stuff. If they're artists not in comics and all they want is a job where they're making money, sometimes they just leave to do art for movies. and I could see him being one of those because he's really good at doing that.
Well, some of the image trades that I read some of the first trades I ever bought, were the art was done by Riley Rossmo,
All
and
right.
there wasn't a lot of dialogue. It was mostly just art, and you had to be able to tell the story within the art. It
Yeah.
was way different.
Yeah, some people could tell a story with just 2 pages of art, and you just like those great artists like Leonardo, Michelangelo da Vinci and stuff like that. They'll have just one big painting, and you look at the painting, it tells you a whole story without any panels, just one picture, and you could just look at
Yeah.
everything and tell. Then you could like the Last Supper from God. You're like, yeah, this is the guy. That's also because we read the Bible and stuff. Like this is the guy that betrays them. That's the cup of wine, and that's God right there. His Last Supper. Like you see like a whole thing develop on that painting. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's a series called Rasputin by I don't know who the writer was, but the artist is Riley Rossmo, and
oh, that's
there
Rosmo.
wasn't a lot of dialogue.
From Image, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that book. I had the first trade back when I was buying it. Back when it was coming out, I was buying the singles. It was pretty good. It was
His
kind of
art's
weird.
really good. I just don't like the I don't like the writers he chooses to work with a lot of the time. I like
Mm,
his art a lot.
all right, all right. Well, I think we covered a pretty good amount of the story.
Yeah.
You guys watch the show. Tune in. Hopefully, we're gonna do this next Friday. You up for it?
Yeah, we'll just call it Volume 2,
Yeah, we'll
7
call it volume two.
through
This will be
12.
volume one. Next Friday we'll read volume two. So it's gonna be about 4 episodes. Then it's gonna be because there's 4 volumes in this big book, and that should cover the whole series. And once we finish those four, we'll start on a new series. We'll talk about it right now offline. See what we both agree on, and we could both read and talk about it after this one. We'll try to
Maybe
get.
it'll be Peter Maybe
Mhm.
it'll be Peter David's Aquaman, who knows?
Yeah, maybe we'll try to get at least we'll get at least the 6 issues going again, so we could do at least the volume two trade. If we could read
Yeah.
12, we'll do 12. But
Yeah,
knowing
we'll
how
do
slow a
7
reader I
through
am and how I
12.
read a million other things at the same time, it'll probably be 6. And,
We're also gonna get some Paul videos up, I think.
yeah. We'll do the reviews on Fridays. We'll do hauls like we'll talk about that right now offline. What days we could do the haul videos? We'll make those on a
Okay.
specific day. And
All right.
everybody in the description down below, I'm gonna throw up our links out there to I'm gonna throw my links out to my Twitter, to my Instagram, my and my what's it called? My Goodreads. Follow me on Goodreads for sure and Twitter. And also if you're familiar with the Omnibus Cafe, I'm gonna put the link up to Omnibus Cafe. I hop on there once in a while. Definitely check them out. Great channel. Always talk about hauls and other current topics that have to do with comics. So check us out right there as
Can
well. And
can you buy and sell in that group?
yeah, you could buy and sell right there. I'll give you the links to all that right now. So yeah, I'll put that out there if you want to check it out. Check out that channel and message them there, and they'll give you a link to the Facebook group. You could buy
All
books,
right.
sell books, or do trades and so forth. And try to do everything through PayPal so you're covered and the other person is also covered. So everything are all smooth transactions. It's not that you don't trust people; is that it's just better to be safe. So we do all things through PayPal. So yeah, check that out for sure as well. And hopefully we're gonna check you out next Friday at the same time, 7 o'clock Pacific. And
Yep.
on the next live stream, we'll give you more info about. We'll probably do haul videos on a different day, maybe Wednesdays or something. We're gonna work all that out right now. And yeah, hit that like button if you watch the replay on this. Hit that like button and try to remember what days we're gonna be on, so you could hop on live and join the chat. If anybody, when we talk about what book we're gonna review next, if anybody has that book or they're currently reading it and are interested in joining, let me know. We could definitely send you an invite and try to keep it to 4 or less people though, so that
You can
everybody has
also leave comments in the comments below, suggestions about books too that we haven't checked out. Maybe we'll check it out and review it.
Yeah, definitely. If you
Anybody
have a
leave
book
comments?
you want us to talk about, throw it on there in the comments down below. If we both have the book, or we could get a digital copy or whatever, I will definitely do that. Read it, and we'll talk about it right here. And like I said, if anybody else is ever interested, let me know. Um, Follow me on Twitter, and then message me on Twitter, and we'll definitely work something out. Like I said, we want to keep it no more than 4 people though. So, because once it's too many, then nobody gets people speak over each other and so forth, and then we some people don't get enough camera time, if you will, to speak. So with
Yeah.
four people, I think it's a good amount.
Yep. I
Okay,
agree.
so that's about it, guys. I'll check you guys out next time, and thanks for checking us out.
You can find me on the Geminites Facebook group.
Oh yeah, definitely check us out on the Gemini's Facebook group as well. I'm gonna try to see if how I get the links for that, and I'm gonna post them on the description down below as well. Very fun group. Everybody's just
Everybody's welcome. Statue
fun. Everybody's
collectors.
cool. You can't sell or trade there, but you could definitely talk about anything. It's not limited to just comics. Talk about
There's
movies, sports, whatever you want to post an opinion on. Go ahead. It's more of a hangout group for just anything in general. You don't even gotta be into comics. A lot of people there just buy statues because they like the characters, but they don't even read books. You know what I mean? Like,
you can
so,
buy you can buy your single issues and share with the group. You can buy your trade paperbacks, share with the group. You
yeah,
can buy your
your opinions on
omnibuses.
what you've been reading. Put a picture of the panel of a page or comic you're reading, opinion on it or whatever, and we get a conversation going. Post pictures of your hauls, what books you bought that week. Definitely check that group out too. We're very cool people right there. All right, so we're gonna we let everybody go. I don't want the video to run too long. We've been up here about an hour and a half already. And check us out next Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific. Peace.
See you guys later.